What is up? This is Miguel from Run With It, and we are here for the Art Can Change the World series. It's where we interview artists and those who work in the arts world about their stories of how art can actually change the world. And today we're at the Nelson-Atkins Museum here in Kansas City, Missouri. It's our home base, our hometown. We love this place. And we are hanging out with Cat Mueller, who works here. So Cat, why don't you go and tell us about what you do here at Nelson?
I'd love to. Well, first, thank you for asking to
No problem.
interview
Thanks for being
me. But yeah, so I'm the educator of public programs, adult programs here at the Nelson-Atkins. I've been here about 3 years now. Started off as coordinator of public programs, and now I mainly do all the adult programming.
Okay.
They can be related to exhibitions. So we do film series,
Nice.
We do lectures, gallery talks in the actual spaces. I've organized performances, and of course my baby here is Third Thursday,
Which we got to be part of.
which
in the
you
past.
have been part of a couple times, and which now you know what it's all about. But yeah, so that's it's kind of in a nutshell.
Yeah, go and tell us a
what
little
I
bit
do.
more about Third Thursday,
Yeah.
the vision behind it, and kind of some of the things you guys are doing and going to be doing in the future.
For
too.
sure. So Third Thursday is it's an ongoing program every month, every third Thursday of the month. It'll go on into infinity. We have no end date.
Nice.
But basically, it's a program that runs from 6 to 9 p.m. on those Thursdays that is designed to help bring in more young people to the museum, people who maybe have been intimidated by coming through the doors, thinking they need to know art history, thinking it's maybe not a place for them.
Like, I'm not smart enough for that place, kind of thing.
Right, you know, there's a trend now among museums to try and do these later night program opportunities to kind of showcase the museum in different ways. But I think people are kind of getting used to, we've been doing this a little over 2 years now.
Yeah.
People are getting used to the idea of this happening here. And so what we always kind of compose it as is, there's a local band and a DJ, live music, to get people dancing and just kind of loosen up the feel of the museum a little bit. We also have a segment called Community Spotlight.
Okay.
And that focuses on a local nonprofit or a local business, sometimes both. We do have multiple ones sometimes, just to kind of use our platform as the Nelson-Atkins to highlight another nonprofit and the good they're doing in Kansas City. And kind of the thread that runs through picking local bands, picking local nonprofits and businesses to highlight depending on what our overarching theme is of that month, is because so many people in Kansas City are really proud of the museum, and we're really proud of our community too. And we want to be able to give back in a way. So whether that's elevating a platform or exposing your group or whatever to a new group of people who are art goers but haven't seen your band, or people who follow the band but haven't been to the art museum, we're trying to merge those communities a little bit more. And there's just, I don't know, there's so many talented people in Kansas City. It's
the arts
insane.
world is growing and booming. And
Totally.
one thing I loved, I think our first time here, you guys even challenged the notion of what is art, because it's interesting for us. We're in a band, and we say this idea, art can change the world.
Right.
What we've gotten a lot is, well, don't you guys do music? It's like, well, guess what? Music's art. And there's so many components. And you guys had, I think it was our first time playing, you had tattoo artists here. And a lot of people, I think, associate a certain thing with tattoos, but instead you brought it into here to show, no, this is yet another medium. Some great tattoo artists in the city as well. So.
No, it was awesome, and I want to do that again, because I think we had maybe 7 or 8 tattoo artists, and they all were tattooing a client, at their booth, so people could actually see it happening.
Yeah. And
so many tattoos are inspired by art pieces, like what you see around you. This that I have is inspired by a Sylvia Plath poem.
That's awesome. That's what mine was inspired, kind of a Van Gogh approach.
See, exactly. So Van Gogh poetry, poetry is art, the written word is art, music is art. So I think that we try and mix that up a little bit too with Third Thursday as well. So
with this idea of art changing the world, one thing we'd love to ask is, how has art impacted you personally?
So, well, one, I mean, taking an art history class for the very first time completely changed my career trajectory.
Okay.
I mean, I always knew I wanted to work in museums, but when I decided that, I was thinking more of like a history museum. I was really inspired when I first visited the British Museum in London. But then I took an art history class and just realizing that, you know, art says so much, because they document history, they document social movements, they document someone's way of life, you know, things like that. And it says so much. It's like so much that history and geography and politics, like society, it's all of that rolled up into one. I'm not a great artist by any means, but
found your role within it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really happy to be helping facilitate other people's interests in art, or having them explore pieces of art or movements that they either never expected, or you know, just kind of getting people familiar with it and comfortable. As I said earlier, it can be really intimidating, but for me, like, arts and art museums, you can travel the world without leaving this one space.
How have you seen art impact somebody else or change somebody else? Maybe even a story that sticks out to you.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of us in the museum, a lot of us in public programs, try to inspire that sort of change all the time. And inspiration. We've also featured different groups at Third Thursday that uses art to change how people feel or think or, you know, live. For example, there was a veterans group that we brought in. So they use art to help veterans kind of acclimate back into civilian society, and to help sort through some of their, you know, PTSD and other things that they're remembering. So when they were here, they had a table in our photography gallery, and they had a small activity where everyone was doing a self-portrait by looking at a mirror. And so we had mirrors set out, and we had pads of paper. That's and cool. It was really interesting. They were able to talk to everybody. So, you know, I've seen people influence lives directly that way. You know, art as therapy is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, art in hospitals, art for all kinds of, you know, care groups and community centers. We use art here to help with citizenship testing. For immigrants wishing to become American citizens.
So helping them understand American history through art. That's awesome.
Because it's a lot easier to kind of recall what you're seeing than like just rote memorization on a note card.
Too bad they didn't do that for us in America. Like,
right.
We probably do better at it, right?
I think so. I think kids would really take advantage of that. I think that'd be great. But yeah, and so I just think there are so many instances that either creating art or looking at art or learning about art can really change your quality of life. You know, it may not save you from starvation, but it can change so much of how you think or how you feel, and that can be enough to change whatever else you need in your life. You know.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for sharing. It sounds like you guys have a ton going on here.
We do.
And now we have a lot of followers from Kansas City and also from all over the place. So for those who are here in Kansas City, but those who may travel, go ahead and let them know like the hours and everything. So
Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, we are open from 10 to 5. Thursdays and Fridays, we have late hours closing at 9 p.m. Thursday nights, we do have a happy hour downstairs. It's a little known secret, or I don't know, best kept secret of the museum, I guess.
We gotta get that secret out.
We do come and enjoy some drinks and then walk around the art, or maybe vice versa. But yeah, and the featured exhibitions are the only things that have a charge to it. But everything else is free. You know, everything from ancient Egypt to our photography galleries, contemporary art.
And absolutely free. So
Yeah.
we brought our kids here, 3 and 4 year olds running around hoping to God they don't break something, and but helping
hope
them
that
just
too.
expanding that because we can't afford to replace it yet. And we'll also let you guys know more about the organization she was talking about to help vets recover from PTSD and other things that they're facing. We'll link it in there, so make sure you guys check that out as well. Make sure you come and visit the Nelson. If you're from Kansas City, you should have been here already. If you're visiting, make sure you make the time for it. It's free. It's awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. A whole lot more coming from Art Can Change the World.